Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 157th, I want to say? 57th?
Ooh, I have no clue.
I'm going to say 57th. And if
I don't edit these things.
if I'm wrong, we just go with it and we skip 56. Who cares? Episode of the Poorly Planned Podcast. My name is Benedict. You may know me... You may know me better. This one's really not going well.
Damn.
I feel like we've been on a roll of like pretty solid intros for a while there.
Pretty good intros so
Suddenly,
far. It was only time before we broke it.
Yeah, and now my confidence is shattered. Of the Poorly Planned Podcast, my name is Benedict. You may know me better as BHL Hudson. Here we talk about movies, TV shows, a bunch of nonsense. With me, as always, is my friend, co-host, and let's see. God, it gets tough to find something distinctive about you every week.
You open a blank canvas to me now.
I mean, you got the blue light glasses on. Before we started, you were a bit of a ghoul because you were sitting in a very dark room. It kind of looked like a paranormal activity movie.
These intros are getting so bizarre to people.
Yeah,
if someone joined the pod for the first time here.
Literally.
Yeah, I mean, you're my friend who's a bit of a ghoul before we started this podcast. He's got his glasses on, I guess.
Yeah. It's just either
mild facts about us.
Very literal facts or complete just insane ramblings. After I fuck up the intro, there's just no coherence to this. I'm so sorry if this is your first episode. But it's okay. We don't have to worry about it because we get no new listeners. Anyway.
Because our pod is failing desperately and sadly.
Because we are the deadest of channels. Partially true, partially not. It's okay. We come back from slumps. It's fine. Anyway.
Is actually begging for more subs.
It's actually like, we're hitting some tougher times here.
Numbers have been better.
BHL Hudson may or may not have been on 67.2 thousand for several months now, but you know, it's okay. we moved.
We did a few weeks ago. We did have like a complete surge in pod subscribers. Of like we got like 40 in like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and it stayed like that for another 4 weeks.
But you know what? It's all good, baby. We definitely aren't stressing about it and feeling weird and tingly in our legs. Anyway. Today, we are going to be doing a bit of a different episode because we're doing...
Ooh.
I thought this week would be a good time to hit a topic, perhaps.
Ooh.
Maybe to shake things up a bit. So I was thinking...
Okay.
Because I have quite a few mini reviews, and there's only a little bit of news. I was thinking maybe we save up the mini reviews for perhaps the next one, so then we do a whole big one, and especially by the next one, maybe there'll be more big things to talk about. I think She-Hulk will have wrapped up by then. I think House of the Dragon might be wrapped up by then, so we can...
I don't know how many episodes are coming out of House of the Dragon.
I don't know either, but there should be some kind of bigger stuff. We do a more full episode, whereas this week, we're going to be doing a little bit of news. We got the Mario trailer. We got the Black Panther trailer. We got the Violent Night trailer, which I'm sure you saw.
Okay.
But
I've seen literally none of the three you just mentioned.
Oh boy. Okay. You didn't even see the Super Mario. Man.
I've seen clips from it.
It's 2 minutes. What do you mean you've seen clips from it? There are 2 clips in it. What's wrong with you?
I've seen reels of certain things.
We do a film podcast. I don't ask for much.
The main clip I've seen is a comparison of Mario's booty of the video game to the new one and saying they did my boy dirty. Hashtag Chris Pratt effect.
Okay, well, you know what? I take it back. I was thinking you don't add much to the show. You add a lot, clearly.
You had copious amounts.
But then for the topic, I was thinking we talk a little bit about the best and worst, and or just basically all that I've seen, movie and show prequels. Because it's a prequel-y time this year. We had House of the Dragon. We had Better Call Saul. Probably other things.
The Lord of the Rings stuff?
Lord of the Rings. It's a prequel. It's prequel o'clock, some would say. I think that's...
Some would.
What the Hollywood...
Myself included.
The Hollywood elite say. So, anyway, without further ado... Should we just dive into...
Very clever.
Thank you. I've been sitting on that one for a few years. Should we just dive into...
It was absolutely worth it.
The news.
Absolutely. Let's go for it.
Okay. It'd be really awkward if you said, like, nah. Let's not.
Can we skip this?
No, I'm actually going straight to the Tom Cnews.
I want to talk She-Hulk right now, please.
First of all, Tom Hardy doing jiujitsu. I think we should touch on this real quick.
I think we should touch on it as well.
This is a little bit old, but and it's not the first instance. It's not the first Hardy incident of him probably like snatching someone's arm, but I'll see just occasionally over the years, I'll just see a headline that's like, Tom Hardy did really well in this jiu-jitsu competition. I'll be like,
yeah,
huh.
I mean, and like some of them say as if he's like entered anonymously almost, like he comes in as like, you don't really realize you're fighting Tom Hardy until you see him standing in front of you.
Yeah.
Which must be a terrifying thing to begin with.
But apparently...
He wins on the mind games.
Honestly, when could Tom Hardy ever lose on the mind games? He won, what is it here? Martial arts.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
UMAC Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Open Championships, where he won gold. So Hardy's not only participating, but he's fucking good. So
man's a fucking winner.
I mean, first of all, a couple of thoughts here. One, I mean, congrats to Hardy. What a badass, knowing martial arts and participating amongst the people where he's above,
pretending to be one of them common men.
But no, I mean, it's very cool. It also makes him a little bit scarier because he's already a bit of a scary man.
Yeah, he's already kind of a scary dude, but now he's
uber scary. Now he could break your leg if he wanted to.
Yeah, he could throw you to the ground.
I also think, what would you do if you're entering a jiu-jitsu competition and then Tom Hardy? Let's put it to our sports. What if you enter a frisbee tournament and suddenly Tom Hardy's on the other team?
Somehow feels like an insult.
What? I mean, I would have said like I used to do fencing, for example, and I'd go to a bunch of these tournaments. And so if the guy pulled off his fencing helmet and it was Tom Hardy, what effect does that have on a person, do you think?
I think it probably completely mushes and ruins a man's psyche. Because
wouldn't it just?
I think I would have to just start doing a Bane impression or something.
That would guarantee he would not stop when you tap. He continues to choke you out.
I don't know. Like, if God forbid the day ever comes that I'm on the frisbee court / field and Tom Hardy pulls up.
Because you want to take a picture, but you want to be respectful, but you also want to beat Tom Hardy, but then do you go easy on him?
Say you beat Tom. Yeah, like, do you? What if he pulls out his jiu-jitsu wrath if he loses to you?
Yeah. So, and I don't know, but it's an interesting concept. To comment down below what you would do if Tom Hardy attacked you in a jiu-jitsu competition.
truly one for Socrates.
The last thing I'll say also is, although we commend him and it's great and everything, is there not a tiny part of you that finds it a little bit annoying when someone's really, really good at one thing in life and then is also really, really good at another thing? Like, Tom Hardy doesn't need more things. He's a great actor. He's super handsome. He doesn't also have to be...
You got way too much going for you.
He might also have to be good at jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean?
He's got some really serious personal issues probably that you're just completely brushing aside here.
That's a good point. I'm not saying Tom Hardy has the ideal life. Also, that's a little harsh. He probably has some extreme personal issues. I mean, let's not go too far, but... I don't know. It's just like, it's like if you found out...
He's got some serious demons.
It's like if, I don't know, if George Clooney also was like the world's best singer or so, you know what I mean? It's just like, you can't be a great thing at two fields.
Reveals weird Tom Clooney. I was going to say Tom Clooney. And Tom Cruise, the only thing he does not have going for him is that everyone thinks he's a little bit of a weirdo. But I mean, I think...
But that's the price you pay.
It's the price you pay. But in his mindset, I think he's living the ideal life. I don't think he's got too many hardships apart from people messing on COVID sets.
Yeah, which is where all of his anger clearly is funneled.
That's where it's all channeled to.
Well, we're gonna talk about your favorite part of the week, watching the Super Mario Brothers teaser trailer, which I'm sure you thought was great. All right, let me describe it to you frame by frame as we do on the pod sometimes. Don't look it up now. Don't look it up now.
No. I'm just saying, let me tell you what I've seen. I've seen Mario doing a bit of jumping.
Okay, it's okay. All right.
And I've seen Bowser rocking up.
That's literally the whole trailer. That's all there is to it. It's two scenes put together. It's those two scenes. You've seen the trailer. Oh, you clown.
I have not.
So
I have not seen the trailer. I've seen clips
that
I've put together.
What do we think of Chris Pratt's Mario voice? Question of the century right here. This is what I ask on all my dates.
We're really asking the big questions on the pod today. if Tom Hardy rocked up at a frisbee tournament, what would you do? And
Genuinely.
what do we think?
Perfect
about
date
Chris
questions.
Pratt's Mario voice. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
So he's not.
He's not really going for the classic Mario voice, is he?
No, but I think you could expect he wouldn't, because if they're going to go with that, they would have gotten the guy who does the classic Mario voice.
Yeah, the actual Mario guy. But the thing is,
Pratt.
Mario's voice is so iconic. So why are you even making a Mario movie with someone sounding like Chris Pratt?
Well, that's the thing, because also you couldn't really do a whole movie with the Mario voice, I don't think, because that would have gotten kind of annoying.
Have you seen?
I have seen the dub of it with...
Have you seen Conan O'Brien going to Comic-Con and the guy who does Mario is there and he has like a 1-minute conversation and at the end of it he's like, you have to stop.
Yeah, exactly. It would get old and also not a lot of like emotional expression that I think. So I can see why they did it. It seems like, and I read somewhere, he's doing like an Italian American accent kind of thing, and like he based it on, I want to say The Sopranos, but I can't say that for like a certainty, but some kind of, like famous Italian American, which I guess is the best way to do it, because it couldn't just be Chris Pratt doing like his normal Chris Pratt voice. It has to be something different.
That would be so off-putting.
But it did feel weird, like seeing, because you're right, he does have such an iconic voice, seeing Pratt's voice coming out of that supple face of his was a little strange.
That supple face of his. I don't know, because... Yeah, I really don't see a perfect way to do it because, yeah, as you say, if you went full Pratt, it would be off-putting to see Mario with the Pratt voice. But you can't really copy the Mario voice. So why even make a Mario movie in the first place is what I say. Scrap the project. Hashtag Catwoman.
It was Batgirl, but
Batgirl.
Solid reference regardless.
Top-notch reference either way.
You know whose voice does work really well, though, in this trailer? Because I didn't even realize it was him until I saw a thing, and then you start to hear the isms of his voice. But Jack Black as Bowser.
Yeah.
What a performance so far.
What a performance.
It really transforms.
A career-defining performance, I would say.
I
when's the last time Jack Black did anything? Just in general.
I think... I don't know. It worked. It worked quite well because I wasn't quite sure who it was, and then it's like it kind of is Jack Blacky, but like not exactly. So yeah, and also animation-wise, I think it looks pretty good. Like it looks like the game, but a little bit smoother, a little bit more filmic. If you're gonna make a Mario movie, there couldn't have been a much better trailer for it, I guess. Like I still don't think I'm not like super excited, but that's just kind of a me thing.
Who voiced the penguin who got immediately defeated?
I'm not sure. It does have a very stacked cast. Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong and Keegan-Michael Key is Toad, but
news just in. Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong.
I'm not sure, but it does have a good a stacked cast, one could say.
Are we excited for the Mario movie?
Kinda, I guess.
Get shot.
I'll see it if I have to, I suppose. Clearly a love for film here. Black Panther 2 trailer, Wakanda Forever. Did you see this? Yeah, right. Dude, we gotta have an intervention here.
No, I might have. When did it come out?
That's not better than...
When did this come out?
Last week.
We
got two. Look, if I say, did you see the trailer for Violent Night where David Harbour plays a murderous Santa, and you say, oh, I missed that one, I'll be like, you know what? That makes sense. That one kind of flew under the radar.
I did see that one.
You did see that one.
No.
Yeah, exactly. You fucking clown.
This is the biggest failure of a co-host.
Black Panther 2 trailer. This podcast is already in the mud. We are plateauing as hard as someone can plateau. We got to step our game up here, and our game is not being stepped up by you being like, I saw a clip of Mario doing a little bounce. So here are my thoughts on the trailer.
Does the Black Panther mom say stuff in the new trailer?
we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna ignore that. We're just gonna. She says stuff in both trailers. She's one of the main characters.
Then I might have seen this. Go on.
Okay, cool. It looks pretty good. It looks the main takeaway.
Who's the villain again?
Namor.
Neymar.
Not Neymar. Namor.
Imagine Neymar rocks up into Wakanda.
That would actually be great. I would pay to see that.
Honestly, I would pay a lot of money to see this.
It is, of course, Namor the Submariner, who is a character from the comics. Jesus. Who is, in this movie, going to be a mutant, which is like a kind of a new thing in the MCU. Did you also see the comic creator of Namor roasted the actor for not being in good enough shape? Because he posted a thing on Twitter where he was like, when the 60-year-old comic creator is in better shape than the actor playing the character, and he like took a picture of his back and compared it to Namor's back. And I was just like, what are you doing, man? Go.
Man, what's going on here?
Why are you on Twitter body shaming Namor? Anyway, the kind of biggest takeaway from it is, I mean, like story-wise, it's kind of what we saw last time. Like T'Challa has died in universe, and then like the world kind of Wakanda's enemies see them as weaker, so they attack then. But the big new thing is that we get a better look at the new Black Panther suit, which I stand by is being inhabited by Nakia, aka Lupita Nyong'o.
Okay.
But could also be Shuri. Could maybe be the mom who says things occasionally.
As she's known to do.
Could be Okoye. It could be a number of characters actually, but I'm gonna go with Lupita personally.
I without having seen this, I feel like Lupita would probably be the best one to take it on.
Yeah.
Also, because Shuri, her whole MCU thing is still a little bit dubious, isn't it? Wasn't there like a whole controversy there?
Yeah, I don't know. It was a whole thing about like vaccines and stuff. I think that's kind of long. I think like I've only seen positive tweets and headlines. No one's like she's canceled, so like I guess people just moved on. But yeah, who knows what her like future is exactly? But yeah, that's that looks pretty good.
When is it? When's it coming out?
November, I think. So pretty soon. Wait, November? That's really soon.
Wait a minute.
The time is flying. And then final piece of news, did you see the trailer for Violent Night starring David Harbour, where he is Santa Claus, but he has to kill a bunch of people?
I did not see this, but I did see him post something on his Instagram about it that I was like, okay, this is a weird Halloween project you're working on, Harbour. But then I just kind of like ignored it. But I guess it's a movie he's doing.
It is. It's a Christmas action. It's kind of like a Bad Santa sort of vibe, except with more, just in the sense that it's kind of like an adult Christmas thing. But basically, he has to like die hard a family where like a family gets kidnapped by bad people, and then Santa has to like kill them all. And I mean, it looks.
I see. I thought it would be Santa just as a serial killer, kind of Winnie the Pooh style.
No. Although that would have also been pretty good. It looks like a very. How do I put this? Like a pitch movie meeting, do you know what I mean? Where someone comes in and they say, like, what if Santa Claus had to, like, kill a bunch of people with Christmas-themed things? Isn't that hilarious? And it's sort of like, yeah, I don't know. It's, like, conceptually kind of funny, maybe as, like, a cutaway gag. As a whole movie, I don't know.
But as a whole movie, how's that gonna work out?
Yeah, and it's all very predictable and sort of, like, clearly self-awarely, intentionally goofy. Like, he says, like, time for some season's beatings. And it's like, all right, it's very good, Harbour.
And then he proceeds to unbuckle the belt and just go to town on himself.
God, I don't want to know what part the belt plays in that equation, but
that is just getting the pants loose.
No, the belt is definitely part of it. Around some part of his body, I don't want to know which. But
weird foot fetish only around the big toes. That's how Harbour likes it.
Strapped to the thigh as tight as possible. But yeah, I mean, it looks kind of dumb, but intentionally so. So I don't know. Maybe it could be a shout, you know.
Okay.
Well, with that out of the way, and I apologize for losing my cool a bit about the Black Panther thing.
That's okay.
It's not your fault that you fucking suck.
You fucking suck. I apologize that I insulted you. I forget that you are a fucking idiot.
What's that meme? It's like, I apologize for the inconvenience of me not giving a fuck. But now we're going to move on to the best.
But it seems
worst.
like you do give a fuck. It seems like you.
It seems like there might be something deep within me that is missing and that I try to fill with rage towards you for your Black Panther trailer failings. Who knows?
Who knows?
We're going to move on.
Get a psychology on that. A psychologist on that.
In my next therapy session, I'm like, yeah, so Freddie didn't watch the Black Panther trailer. And she's like, no.
No, he did not. Don't say it's true.
She's like, I can't even handle this shit. This goes too deep.
Quits and joins your sessions as a patient.
We're going to move on to best and worst prequels. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
All right, number 1, Oz the Great and Powerful. It just goes complete emotionless.
Just becomes an AI. Number 1.
Number 15, Burger King. Sorry. I was
gonna say, I was like, that's so dead.
You're like, wait, that was 5 years ago, actually.
I was gonna say that. I realized I'm not a fucking loser.
I was gonna say that, then I realized, like, I have friends. Well, my number 1, or not my number 1, the first one that I have written down here is Oz the Great and Powerful. So I guess we can just go from there. A prequel, of course.
It can only get better.
Yeah, we start a little low and then we work our way up. A prequel to the iconic Wizard of Oz. This was the 2013 release starring James Franco. Did you see this actually in cinemas?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I did, and it's 2 hours I'll never get back. No, I actually kind of liked it when I saw it. I don't know. It was sort of, I guess,
what's this about?
As we go through it, should we determine if the prequel is better than the thing it's prequelizing?
I like it.
Big theme here. Oz the Great and Powerful, James Franco. Have you seen The Wizard of Oz?
I have seen The Wizard of Oz.
Okay, so James Franco is the wizard in question, and he is transported to Oz. And it's basically his journey through Ozing to become...
I have seen this, I think.
Okay.
Like, I don't remember anything about it, but it rings a bell.
Okay, I was just going to say, what other movie could you have been, like, confusing it with? Like, some other James Franco comedy or something?
No, I mean, I definitely remember James Franco being transported. And that's all I remember.
It could have been to North Korea in The Interview, or it could have been to Oz. Wait, no, he's Oz. What's the place called in... No...
it's definitely not Kansas. I know that much.
But it's pretty... I remember liking it as a kid. I saw it when I was 11, I guess, in the cinema. And I don't know. It wasn't bad. It's definitely... I can see if you were maybe an older person who has a great love for cinema and the first Wizard of Oz and everything. It could be seen as a bit of like a modern Hollywood bastardization of the things you loved. Like turning sort of the world of Oz and how beautiful it was in the original into this sort of CGI thing, but also it's a modern reinterpretation. So what do you want them to do? Make it on a fucking painting or whatever?
But also Wizard of Oz is so old that I think it's okay that you do a little prequel action there, where it actually, I mean, and this is nothing against the original movie, but it is a little shitty looking. So I don't think anyone will.
I'd love to see you in my film class when they're like, yeah, Wizard of Oz pioneered visuals and it was an exceptional achievement at film. You're like, yeah, but it is a bit shitty looking, don't you think? Oh my god. But I can see your point, I suppose.
I mean, it's just not great
by today's standards. Yeah, shitty. I don't think it's shitty looking. I think it's just I understand you can't make it the same way in 2013, obviously, especially if you're marketing towards kids and you have to make it a bit of no. I mean, anyway, as a film, it's fine. It's kind of very generic kids movie sort of vibes. James Franco is serviceable, I suppose. Who else is in it actually? Because I think it has what one could call an all-star cast. Never mind. Totally doesn't.
Wizard of Oz.
I definitely just insulted everyone who's in it by saying never mind, but...
is that Wicked? Is that what it was called?
No. I don't...
What's it called?
Wicked? Like the play?
James
Anyway.
Franco, Wizard of Oz. Oz the Great. Okay, I see. We've got.
So you have the loudest motherfucking keyboard ever to
It's
be
got Zach
invented.
Braff.
Okay, never mind. It's fucking spectacular. Mila Kunis. Okay, Michelle Williams. It does have a good cast, but anyway, let's not spend all of our time on Oz the Great and Powerful. It's pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, we said a good 5 minutes.
Literally the most time spent on this one. By the way, if you have any prequels that you can think of, I literally went to Wikipedia and noted down every one I knew. So I'll probably cover it, but if you can think of one, just throw it in here.
I mean, you've almost definitely got this covered, but I'll just throw it in there. Ooh. The Hobbit action?
Yes, I do have. I just wrote Hobbits. Just so many of them.
Hobbits.
What are we thinking of Hobbits?
Also, wait. Should we in the previous one better or worse than the original?
Worse.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. Sorry, James.
Not visually, because we all know what the visuals of the first one are. But otherwise, fair enough.
Right.
So yeah, Hobbits, and are we? Neither of us have seen the new Lord of the Rings TV show because that technically also counts as a prequel.
I have seen 30 minutes of the first episode, and it was pretty okay.
Yeah, I really want to watch it, but I've not gotten around to it yet. So I guess we might do. Honestly, you know what we could do? We could do a little House of Dragon and /or Lord of the Rings episode when we watch all of it.
Ooh, that's not bad. Will we also get to do that Better Call Saul episode at some point?
Once I get back to watching it, absolutely.
All right, good. Glad we got that.
just checking. I'll get back to it after I've seen the Mario trailer. Just give me some time.
Yeah, you're building up quite the list. But no, that sounds great. Actually, I would love to do once the season wraps up. Bit of a House of the Dragon sort of recap.
Brilliant. Anyways, so
Hobbits.
The Hobbits. We've got a delightful Freeman performance. Delightful Gandalf, I forget. McKellen, yeah. And Serkis, also great. Like the returning characters / like Bilbo are very good. I like them a lot. Everything else, kind of average.
Aggressively mid, one could say.
Aggressively mid, yeah.
I think the problem with... I mean, this is not like an original thought. Everyone said this. But the problem with it lies in making it 3 movies for a book that is not even that long. You could definitely have made it 2 movies, maybe even 1 really long one. But I think two could have been good.
I mean, and they are, if memory serves me right, 3 very long movies. No?
Yes, extremely. And like, the thing is, I think the second movie I think is really great. I haven't seen it since, but I remember loving Desolation of Smaug.
Desolation of Smaug. That one's actually quite good. I also like that one.
I think it's quite simple, just like pacing wise. You cut about half out of the first one, you cut about half out of the second one, or the third one, and you split the second one in half, and then there you go. You got 2 movies that are well paced and sort of have enough in them, don't end on a really weird note and then start. You know how I can't think of an example, but some Marvel movies will do this where they end on like a cliffhanger, and the next movie or the next show or whatever, it's kind of just resolved immediately. You're like, oh, why did that end on a cliffhanger? That's the thing it does here, where like it ends on that great cliffhanger, like I am death or whatever, and then the next one's like,
and then
they fix it immediately, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, he literally dies immediately. Like you're looking forward to, oh my god, the next time there's going to be like a huge battle. Smaug is just immediately shot by Gaston, and that's it.
Gaston just fucks his shit up. I don't know, yeah. I think there's so much good stuff in them, but they're too long, they're too meandering, there are too many characters in it who you don't give a flying fuck about, and they also look, for a franchise where the original was some of the best looking films ever made, they look really fake and really computer generated.
Well, sometimes they do, but other times they also, like, I don't know. I think you really need to be in the mood to sit and watch these things, because if you're sitting there
like in the sexual mood, you mean?
Oh yeah, like you need to be horny when you look at the Hobbits.
You need to be hard as a fucking rock when you're watching the Hobbit. It's the only way to do it.
The rock that Gandalf shatters and turns
oh god
the weird orcs to stone.
What a horrible metaphor, or maybe a beautiful one. Anyway,
I don't know. Anyways, I'm just saying, like, I think if you're sitting there not really in the mood for the Hobbit, the sexual mood that is.
Sorry, when are you in the mood for the Hobbit? Do you just sit there and you're like, damn, I'm in the mood for the fucking Hobbit?
I mean, you know, it's not exactly like a movie you sit down and watch it, you're like, what movie am I wanted to watch? Oh yeah, let me just watch The Hobbit. You go in with the express purpose, like, you know what? Today I want to watch The Hobbit. I'm feeling sitting down.
Sorry. I can't imagine someone waking up and being like, you know what? Today I want to watch the fucking Hobbit. Like, that's your mission for the day. I get what you mean. The way you said it.
You get what I mean. Like, it's not like you're not. It's not like a John Wick or something where you're sitting, you're about to eat dinner, like, oh, what movie should I put on? John Wick. Yes. You would never sit there and be like, oh, I got the pass out. What random movie should I choose? Oh yeah, The Hobbit. No.
Yes. No, I get what you mean.
You wake up with the purpose of wanting to watch The Hobbit. But if you watch the movie without that purpose and that mindset, then you're gonna notice all the faulty CGI and stuff like that, and how cheap it looks. However, if you don't, then it's a good watch.
Okay, I hear you. I'm just saying, you make it sound like you've been in the night possessed by some divine spirit that makes you want to wake up with the express purpose of watching The Hobbit. But I get what you mean. Yeah, they are like, I was about to say thick films. That's not the right choice. They're like dense films. Even with that, though, I don't really see that as much of an excuse, because like I'd say the same thing for Lord of the Rings, where those are very dense films that kind of you wouldn't just throw on for the sake of it.
Yeah,
not a bit mid, I'd say.
Bit mid, but like I think if you're in the mood for like a long adventure movie, then it's still a good one, I think.
I think the second one is very good. I mean, of course, there are some great visuals like Smaug and such. I think the first one's all right too. I think the Gollum stuff elevates it. It's a solid setup. There's a bit too much dwarf singing for my taste, but oh well. And then the last one I think is
what a weird complaint.
It's where I draw the line.
Dwarves have exactly 2 minutes to sing anymore, and I cut the movie.
The last one I think is really long and rambling and not very engaging.
Yeah.
But yeah. Mm-hmm. Tarzan 2. It's apparently a prequel. Have you seen it?
Ooh, I have seen this.
Oh, by the way, Hobbit's worse than Lord of the Rings.
Yes, I agree. I have seen this, and whilst I would say not as good as the original Tarzan, and it's a long time ago since I watched this, but pretty good as well, this one.
Okay. It was a direct-to-DVD release.
Yeah, I mean, as were most of the Disney sequels, I guess. But yeah, I think it's like Tarzan goes... Oh, this is a really long time ago since I watched this. Like Tarzan goes and he meets like some old monkey who pretends to be like some like valley beast, but like no one sees him. He like just shouts into caves and like echoes and like, I don't know, scary. Like he's like... Everyone fears to go into that valley because it's this dude who's, Then Tarzan befriends him and learns a lesson throughout the movie, I guess. I don't remember much else. Won't lie.
He learns it's really fun to trick people by yelling in caves, and he...
Pretty much. I think he does realize that.
Fair enough. Can't argue with that.
But yeah, not as good as the original Tarzan, which I, by the way, think is amazing.
Not enough Phil Collins?
Not enough Phil Collins. There's never enough Phil Collins.
I was about to say, that's true for every part of my life. Let's see here. I mean, we have a bunch here. I'm going to say, have you seen Dumb and Dumberer When Harry Met Lloyd?
I have not seen that, no.
Nah, me neither. It's supposed to be not great. We're going to move on to, you can imagine, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Technically a prequel, takes place before Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Ooh.
So,
okay.
As a prequel, like just in how it relates to the other ones, I think it was a good decision to make it a prequel because it's sort of, I don't know, at the end of Raiders has such a fun ending, which they sort of ruin a little bit later when they make more movies anyway, but you kind of, it'd be weird if they ended that and then immediately went into like, look, he has a new love interest after, him and Marion end up together and all that stuff. So I think it makes a bit of sense that they made it like that.
Also, to explain, Short Round?
Short Round, he is there. What, just like... Oh, yeah, it would be... Well, no, it's even weirder that he isn't in the next one, then, if... Yeah.
Oh, right, it is.
Indy did just abandon him. As a movie, we've discussed it before. It's fucking weird. It's a crazy movie.
It is, yeah. I don't think I've seen it. You did say it is a bit of a freaky experience.
It makes for a good watch. A few friends of mine a few years ago watched the first Raiders of the Lost Ark in sort of a, summer house setting with some drinks and such. And I feel like Temple of Doom might be a better movie for that kind of situation because it's such a fucking strange movie that I feel like watching it with a group of people, slightly inebriated maybe would be a fun time.
I see.
It kind of ramps up all the, I'm not gonna say the worst parts, but kind of the most intense parts of the last movie, where like there's more violence, there's more like bugs and snakes and gross shit, and there's like bigger kind of action set pieces, but it doesn't really capture the same spirit. But it's still a very, very fun adventure film. So it's not as good as Raiders. And I know people who are big Indiana Jones fans of like the whole franchise who really hate Temple of Doom because they feel it kind of mucks up the whole thing. But I personally am a big fan, and I like how weird and fucked up and disturbing it is. It's great. They rip people's hearts out and shit. It's awesome. Let's see. I'm trying to find one here that you'd maybe have seen.
As long as it's not Mario, then we're good.
Well, speaking of animated ones, and you know what? One that goes under the radar, and, it's definitely possibly because I saw it when I was a child, but I quite like Monsters University.
Ooh. I won't lie. I did not love this.
Damn.
Yeah.
You didn't love the Sully parties at the frat house scene? Sully goes fucking hard.
Sully hits that immediate amazing shot in beer pong.
It's like Sully hits that immediate gritty, and I was like, damn, I missed that scene. That would have been great.
God, imagine Sully hitting that immediate gritty.
What is an immediate gritty? The second effect.
What an immediate gritty is.
Over the Pixar logo, you just see him in the background.
But the fact that it's immediate just means that the Pixar lamp is like jumping in, and then it's just like completely trampled by Sully just grittying it.
Sorry, God, this podcast is gonna age horribly when like in 2 days.
When Sully does hit that immediate gritty.
That reference is out of date. What did you not like about it? How dare you?
I don't know. Like, I think the first Monsters Inc. is just so, I don't know. I found it to be just so unique and so, so its own thing. Whereas like, and again, I guess that this is kind of like what they tried to do to kind of like, almost like normalize it or make it a bit more like relatable. Like, oh, they went to high school, Monsters Inc. high school. Like, it's obviously, whatever. But I don't know.
To be clear, Monsters U stands for Monsters University, just so we're
all right,
on the same page.
Whatever. Monsters went to university.
No, yeah, I hear your point.
You know what I'm trying to say. Where it's like it kind of like tries to normalize everything and thereby just normalizing the experience as well, I think.
So do you not like that it, I guess, expanded on or was trying to expand on the world? Do you like kind of the...
I mean, I again, it's not a bad movie, but I just did not have as good a time with it as I thought I would when I went into it. I was like, okay, this is just kind of average, kind of mid.
I can agree with also the thing about sort of the first one is so original, and then this one is sort of, there are scenes where it's kind of like, and here we go, here's a young Mike who goes and sees them, and he's like, that's my dream job, and like you sort of, the fact that also...
Well, yeah, because it's kind of like, it's basically, the first one is Monsters, Inc. with its own plot and everything like that, whereas this one feels kind of like, and again, it's probably supposed to, like, almost like a university / high school kind of like thing where it's like, the not so popular kid / nerd is trying to fit in, is trying to do what he wants to do, but he's not fit for it. But then, stuff ensues. Just set in the Monsters Inc. world. Whereas the original one is just, I don't know, for me, just so much better.
I hear that. It's a more unoriginal story, for sure. And there are some kind of shoehorned in references to Monsters Inc., but also it being a kid's film, I think I can forgive that. Because also, I can attest, as I saw it as a kid, like those kind of shoehorned in references are thrown in for kids to be like, hey, that's hilarious that they had that same character there. And I remember thinking, like, that's really fucking cool that the Abominable Snowman is in the scene.
That's so dope that Ross just showed up like that.
But... yeah, I haven't seen it, I don't think, since I was maybe 13 or so, but I don't know, I think I enjoyed it. because I love Monsters Inc. as well. So I think I was excited to see those characters again. I think, yes, it is a generic-ish high school story, but I think because it had those characters, and it does have like the Pixar sort of well-doneness about it, I think it elevates it a bit for me. And I don't know, I found it to be a very watchable movie. I thought it was a fun time. I would say not as good as Monsters Inc., but I am a fan personally.
Okay, fair enough. It's not something I'd ever want to watch again, but not because it's terrible, just because I don't know. I found it to be kind of mid.
I guess we should talk Star Wars prequels.
I guess we should.
So there's actually more than you'd think, because there's episodes 1, 2, and 3, but then there's also Solo and Rogue One and Obi-Wan and a whole
Is this Mandalorian count?
No, isn't. Oh, yeah, that is a prequel, yeah. So I guess maybe so it doesn't get too confusing. Let's stick with the movies for now.
Okay.
I mean, these have had like a resurgence in love in recent years. Like everyone's like, oh my god, because I think the people who grew up with them are now sort of the age where they have the loudest voice on the internet, and so, everyone's like, oh my god, they're the best thing ever. When I still think they're pretty bad.
I honestly never really got into the Star Wars thing, as people know on the pod, that it's never really. I don't even think I've seen all the movies, and the ones I have seen, I just don't get the hype. I really enjoy The Mandalorian. I think that's a great show, but everything else, I don't know, it's just, I've never really gotten the hype around it. Like, it is, at best, mid.
Oof, damn. That's a harsh one. Yeah, I think, everything that could possibly be said about them has been said, but they're filled with kind of awkward and weird dialogue, and they add all this, talk about adding, like, backstory to characters. I don't know, again, because all these things have switched in public opinion because people, I guess, have like aged up, and now the people who love them are talking about them, but like they do add all this stuff that it kind of ruins the original Star Wars films, like all these sort of, it's a bit of a problem with prequels in general, which we might also talk about with X-Men Origins Wolverine, where whatever you could imagine in your head is like 9 times out of 10 going to be cooler than what they show on the screen. And so if you if you hear like Darth Vader and Obi-Wan are like, you used to be my teacher or whatever, and like whatnot, to me, that's a more emotional, impactful scene when they like face off without having seen
actually seeing the development of that happening.
Because then you can imagine it more in your head, and especially because it wasn't very well executed, in my opinion, it sort of makes it even worse. They're not without redeeming things, but it's just it's kind of just not my thing, personally. And I think Rogue One is okay, and Solo was okay.
What I'm hearing is a lot of okays. Rogue One, that's the one where everyone dies at the end. Spoilers.
It is. No, that was actually Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. Every character died at the end.
That one, I think, did we watch that one together in the cinema, Rogue One?
No. I saw it with Yassine and one of our other friends. We had a Star Wars tradition. You were not involved.
All right, that's fair.
You were heavily removed from that one.
You were surgically removed from that party.
You might be thinking of Suicide Squad, which we did see together.
You might be thinking of that weird French documentary we went to see every once in a while.
Yeah, we just periodically saw it for some reason over and over again.
So strange.
I'm realizing we have a lot of prequels here and not a ton of time.
Is this going to be a sequeled episode, perhaps?
Ooh, or maybe... that was an unfortunate sound. Or maybe it's a prequeled episode. Maybe this is actually the second. We've already talked about a bunch of the ones, and then... this bit is not worth continuing. But...
No, but... You guys get that it would have been funny if we did continue.
Yeah, that's how we should do all of our quote-unquote bits from now on. We just say what it would have been and then like let the viewer imagine it. It's way better in your head than it would have been if we did it.
Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to say that I would have gone into great detail describing Sully hitting the gritty, but I won't now. But just imagine that and me talking about it for many minutes. It's very funny.
Everyone in the audience pauses the episode and just laughs for a few minutes.
They're sitting there contemplating it in complete silence out of nowhere. uproarious applause and laughter.
You can hear it all over the world. Let's see. Okay, let's hit like 2 more. Minions is technically a prequel. I don't know why I included that.
We should probably do one, whatever the fuck, one pretty good one. Just
okay.
For, thumbnail material.
Right. How about the X-Men prequels? How about that? Because we have Origins Wolverine, and then we have the trilogy or the quadrilogy, actually, goddamn, of First Class, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix. Big variety and quality here. Because Origins Wolverine is ass, as one could say.
It is not great.
First Class is amazing. Days of Future Past, even better. Apocalypse gets a lot of hate. I really enjoyed it. We saw that movie with our French exchange students.
It gets a lot of hate, but we did see that, and we did enjoy it.
We did enjoy it. I thought it was a good... I looked at you after... I remember distinctly, because we'd heard all the reviews really bad, and after the movie, I looked at you in the Supreme Hall, and I was like, that was pretty good. And you were like, yeah, that wasn't that bad. And I was like, yeah.
We walked into like, people say it's terrible. Why? And we're there with our French exchange students as well. We're like, are we taking them to see a terrible garbage movie?
Well, they go back home and be like, these fucking Danes. They don't know cinema.
Oh, you missed my baguette and I saw Apocalypse.
Yeah, we clearly learned a lot about French culture from having that exchange program, as you can tell.
Yeah, it really helped our cultural mindset.
But it was pretty good.
I liked it.
Remember that part when Cyclops took off his glasses and he destroyed the tree, and he's like, that was my favorite tree.
I do not remember that.
You remember the nutty scene where Holt is like, oh, you gotta show us what you can do, and James McAvoy's like, it's okay, you can do it, and then he takes the glasses off and he like destroys this giant tree, and McAvoy's like, I think that was actually my favorite tree. It's a great scene. It's super
I do
nutty.
not remember that.
Boo on you, sir. But I don't know. And when Apocalypse does his big speech, he's like, everything they've built will fall.
I do remember that.
And then Dark Phoenix is total ass. Probably more so than Origins Wolverine, honestly.
I have not seen that one.
It's very bad, and it ends with them having a chess game at a cafe, and I'm like, oh, fuck both of you. You've had so many of these. Every single one of these movies ends with them being like, Charles, I don't know how I feel about this. And he's like, yes, cryptic thing. Like, I'm your friend, but I'm your enemy. And then it ends. And I was like, how are you doing this for the 20th fucking time in a row?
What about the Wolverine, like the other Wolverine movies?
That's just a sequel.
It's not just a sequel.
Yeah, he's just
where he goes to Japan and stuff like that.
It's just like chilling. Yeah. That's a good movie. I feel like that
is a very good movie.
Too much hate. But yeah, so the prequels, the X-Men ones, are very up and down. I think they did it a very interesting way, working it into the other franchise with Days of Future Past and whatnot. But yeah, a bit of a mixed bagaroo on that one.
I agree.
I think should we call it there for now?
Or do we want to end it on The King's Man?
Oh yes. How did I not even note this down? The King's Man. Yes. The iconic film genuinely needs to be a Ben and Fred watch sometime.
I still have not seen.
It is one of the most, like, obviously not like, you can think of more insane movies, like especially sort of like lower budget indie kind of films that can do whatever they want. But for like a big budget sort of movie, it may be the most insane film I've ever seen. It is so fucking bizarre. Like, everything from the choices the characters make to the choices the screenwriter made to, like, it has like 8 different tones. There's like a somber war scene following like the Rasputin dance battle. It has a Hitler post-credits tease. It's fucking so insane, and I kind of love it for it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it beyond just like, what a fucking movie. It has some great stuff in it too, and it has some terrible stuff. Like, everything, there's nothing level about it. Like, quality, story.
There's nothing consistent.
Everything's all over the place. But I think would
you say it's better than the second Kingsman?
I would, yes. But in a weird way where, like, objectively maybe not, but just like...
But in terms of enjoyment?
I don't know. Yeah, I respect more. I was like, Kingsman: The Golden Circle had like some really good stuff in it, but a lot of it I was kind of cringing, and I was like, this isn't what I was hoping it would be. This one I was glued to the fucking screen. There was no way I was looking away for a second. So I'm gonna have to go with The Kingsman. Yeah, we have to watch that together sometime. That would be
okay.
Actually, maybe if you're coming over to Ireland, perhaps that could be an idea. But
what an idea!
But let's not tease that here, out in the open.
It's not official yet, although it very much is.
You literally have bought the tickets, so
it's literally in 9 days.
You literally have no choice. I've signed you into my accommodation. If you don't show up, they'll kill me. Imagine that they're like, you signed in Frederick Dahlgaard, and he doesn't seem to be here. They just execute me. For legal reasons, my accommodation does not threaten to execute me. But anyway, it's now time for
the Cnews.
And we got some juicy Timecodes. I think you even sent this to me, but it was all over the place. And it's not like it's exactly new, like he's mentioned it before, but it seems to now be going ahead. Tom Cruise set to become the first actor to shoot movie in outer space, from New York Post.
God, that is so cool.
Yeah, so this is something they've been talking about doing for a while. I believe it's with Doug Liman, who he's worked on, I think did Edge of Tomorrow. But Cruise really is just like he's playing into the gimmick of him being like an insane risk taker.
Yeah,
but he's
just kind of embracing the fact that he is fucking insane.
I think he also just wants to like. I mean, yeah, there's the element he may be a little crazy. Who's to say? Mm-hmm. I think there's also the element he wants his legacy to be like. Because he loves film and filmmaking so much, he wants his legacy to be like, I just did fucking everything that like no one has ever even heard of doing in film before, which he is well on his way to doing, in fairness.
Yeah, and I think he's also just got that kind of like mentality of wanting to just expand all horizons that he's doing. Like he's like, oh yeah, I'll get this and this and this plane license. I'm gonna do jumping off this and this building, and then he's gonna go to space now. He's just like got an endless fucking adventure drive.
Yeah, I get it's kind of like those memes where they're like, he finished the main story, now he's just doing side quests. Like they do with like doing Snoop Dogg or whatever. So yeah. Also, sorry, Tom Cruise, for just comparing you to Snoop Dogg. I'm sure you wouldn't take kindly to that, but
yeah, you know what? Tom Cruise is a lot like Snoop Dizzle.
He's really aspiring to be the Snoop Dogg of actors, I think.
Formerly known as Snoop Lion to the common man.
But apparently the film from this article will take place largely on Earth, and then the final, mission or like the big climax will be he goes into space, which makes sense. I guess the whole movie, if it's not going to be like I assume it's going to be like an action thriller. Doug Liman also did like I think some of the Bourne movies. So
okay,
yeah, crazy. And I think the thing about Tom Cruise that's really impressive, and we were talking in my film class the other day about like movie stars and like how many are left that like people go see their movies just based on the fact that they're in it, which, by the way, you'll be very happy to know when asked for examples. I did say Dwayne Johnson, but...
Ooh, very good.
But he is one of the last people who not only has that, but also has... Like, his movies... It's not often... Sometimes it's a bad thing if movies are kind of dependent on the context around them. Like, if people are like, you need to read the book or know this behind-the-scenes story. But he's created this thing where everyone knows that if Tom Cruise is doing an action thing, like, it's done for real. Like, all the talk from, people I talked to about Top Gun, they were like, I can't believe they, like, flew those planes up. And, like, same thing with Mission Impossible. Those stunts, if he was on a green screen for that plane stunt, that's a pretty nothing scene, to be honest. Like, it's not that spectacular, a moment. It's like, so spectacular because you know it's real,
No, I totally agree. Where it's like you're almost going to see the movie. I mean, it helps that they're very good movies, but you're almost going to see the movie for the spectacle of how they made it and the ways they made it instead of what you're actually seeing,
Yeah, he's done an incredible job of building up that reputation, I guess, which is why I think this would... Yeah, if you just have an action thriller and then at the end they go into space, and it's just done...
They do that in multiple movies with, freaking... was like Moonfall or whatever that
yeah. They did that in the last Fast and Furious movie, and no one really cares, at least for that reason. No one's like, oh my god, we have to go see it because they do this. But this one, already, before it's even been made, this is the huge talking point. And so people will be talking about do you hear Tom Cruise went to fucking space to make this movie? Let's go see this movie. That sounds crazy. And I think that's really cool, and it's just a cool idea. So yeah, go Cruise. And also, yeah, Doug Liman's a good director, and I think it'd probably all things point to it being a pretty good movie. So I'm here for it. Cruise did fuck up that mentality the one time when he made The Mummy.
Yeah, he did. That was
which also he still did some crazy shit for, which is so funny because in the movie
he did do a plane like free fall in that one.
Yeah, and he did he got hit by he went into a bus that hit him and stuff,
and he got hit by a fucking train. My man died.
It's been a CGI recreation ever since.
God, I just really hope for his okay, let me preface this by saying that I hope he doesn't die in general.
Right.
But with the way he's doing things right now, it is beyond likely that he might die making one of these movies. I just hope to God that it's not making a movie like fucking The Mummy.
Well, I was gonna say, again, we hope no harm to come to him. But it's just so funny with The Mummy where he did those real stunts, but because of how shitty that movie is and the editing and whatever, you can't even tell they're real. So what if what if that bus that hit him for that stunt, he goes inside of it? What if it'd been off by a couple of centimeters and it just slams into him and that's the end of Tom Cruise and it's just for this nothing moment in The Mummy.
Yeah, his entire fucking brilliant career ending on this really, really violent wet fart moment. Just
yeah, then again, we also don't hope that he dies on the set of a really fucking awesome movie. That's also
no, I mean, as I said, we
however,
hope no
if he
him.
had died when he was I'll see you at the movies, and just the plane fucking nose dies, that wouldn't have been the worst way to go.
An awesome way to go. Imagine that clip. He's I'll see you guys at the movies, and then his fucking line snaps and he just plummets.
But he's still smiling. He wanted it this way. I don't know how. What does that do to his legacy if that happens? Because we just had this whole thing where he wants to keep pushing the limits and good for him and all this stuff. But if he does, are we all gonna be shit? Someone should have. I mean, it's not my fucking fault. I can't change it. But are the people around him we should have told him no? We should have.
Yeah, this is in space. A lot of these things he's doing on the ground, on Earth. He's got so many different safety guys and professionals doing what they're doing. There's only a handful of people, I assume, that'll be able to go into space and help with this project.
Yeah, for some reason I'm less concerned about this one just because there's so much safety that goes into space stuff where Crew's getting thrown off a fucking motorcycle. I feel it's kind of easier for him to just crack his head open on the asphalt, whereas
I guess, but at the same time, the reason there's so much safety going into the space stuff is because there's so much that could go wrong. So it's just I don't know.
What if Cruise dies in space? Again, we don't hope it happens, but what a way to go.
That would make for some epic Tom Cruise.
No, I don't know. I think it will, if that does happen, which I doubt it will happen, but who knows? I think that's going to be a big, reflection on the film industry, and maybe that's the last time we ever see practical effects and stunts. Maybe that's nah, we're just doing CGI for everything now. I don't know. It's an interesting thing to ponder, but ponder for another day because it's now time for the announcements and such. Sorry.
We just run back to Tom Cruise.
So Tom Cruise did actually die on that motorcycle.
Yeah, and now it's time for the Tom. He's dead. He's dead, guys. He's dead.
We're gonna do the announcements and such, starting with some comments. NMS says day 39 of asking for a Pain and Gain Ben and Fred watch. I know I've seen this comment a lot. We have to. Do we do that or the Kingsman? That's the question. I mean, it's Mark Wahlberg and Dwayne, and I think Anthony Mackie. That sounds like a good time.
It does sound like a good time.
It's definitely on the list. We've, as you've noticed, we've been out of Ben and Fred watches. We haven't done one for a while, but it's definitely up there. We do have one in the books or in the box currently, whatever the fuck the saying is. That's been there for about a year. I'll be honest, it is pitch perfect, and I just have not gotten around to finish editing it, so that's on me.
That's fair.
And yeah, NMS says that movie is actually tailor-made for the pod, and Daniel agrees that we should watch it. So you know what? We'll figure it out. We will do it eventually. That's a guarantee.
We will do it within the next. I'll be generous and say 10 years. We'll hit it.
I can get behind that. ZJ says, your classmate is right for not wanting to marry Brad Pitt. It recently surfaced that he beat his ex-wife or something like that. Wow. I did see, yes, that there were some allegations from Angelina Jolie, and I didn't dive deep into it, but I saw there were also some things about his kids and allegations of him being abusive towards them. So we don't get sued. I'd like to say this is all allegations. I don't know what's true and what's not. But yeah, no, not good. Kind of unfortunate timing because we did obviously record that not knowing that, and then we put up the pod and I saw like the next day these allegations, and we do have like a 5-minute rant about like, man, he's so delightful, and I'm like, this is why we say we pre-recorded them. It's for exactly for moments like that where it's like, right, for the record, this is October 10th, but yeah, so we don't know right now, but obviously not the headline you want to see, and I hope it all gets sorted. ZJ also says, great way to start off my 3-day weekend. Also, Freddie and BHL. What's some very attractive people? Well, thank you, ZJ. We've gotten a lot of memeing comments lately of our sweatiness
sweat,
and our noses. One of those seems more directed at the appearance, but whatever. But thank you, CJ. Josie says, I like to... Jesus Christ. Oh, what's going on your end? I was talking about my end.
Oh, that's my end.
Someone crying?
No, someone just being fucking stupid.
All right. Anyway, back to some not stupid stuff. Josie says, I like to imagine Colin Farrell looked like the penguin after he got kicked by the donkey and bit by the dog. Me too.
I like to imagine that as well.
Daniel says, another really great, enjoyable episode. Keep up the great work. This pod is exactly what I needed after a tough and long week of school. Can't wait for the next week. Thank you, Daniel. And yeah, no worries.
Daniel.
Hope this week was better and less tough. Sean Grant says, is it just me or do the Poorly Planned podcast have an inside joke about every single actor? That's very true. And for new listeners, it must be wildly confusing where we'll just go like, hey, did you hear about Don Cheadle? Like, what's the joke about cheese?
What a joke.
And if the thing is, if you asked us, we couldn't tell you. We'd just be like, he's just a nutty man. I don't know.
He's a nutty dude.
We're very weird people. Movie Guy says, Cheed's Cheese should be a side business Don Cheadle starts. It might help him pay his weekly house bills. I have to say, I definitely would not eat Cheed's Cheese, but that might just be that's all for this week. The Instagram, there was nothing on the fan page, although there were a couple of fun stories posted. I can't remember exactly what they were now, but just follow the fan pages. Fun stories and posts and such.
Fun stories. There was, I remember one of them. It was a TikTok of the best mustache.
It was, yeah. That was
a very delightful one. I went in on TikTok and found that one and saved it because I enjoyed it.
Anyway, that's the episode for this week. We talked some news, kind of, and we talked some prequels. And next week we'll talk even more news and even more mini reviews. And we will have to do a sequel to the prequel episode.
I think we might have to.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening. If you're on YouTube, drop a like, subscribe, hit the bell button, leave a comment down below what you think of all these things, what your favorite and least favorite prequel is, and what you think of the pod. If you're not on YouTube, we're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, though if you're there, you should go on YouTube as well. Just do all the things.
Listen to the pod 3 times.
Hell yeah. You can leave a 5-star rating, a nice review, tell your favorite...
grandparents.
your favorite grandparent? Yeah. And be sure to tell them I'm telling you about the pod because you're my favorite one. I hate the other old hag. Anyway... You can find me on YouTube, BHL Hudson, Instagram, Twitter, BHL_Hudson, TikTok, BHL Hudson, Letterboxd, Real BHL Hudson. You can email the pod at bhlhudsonvids@gmail.com.
You can find me. Did I just see a dab?
No.
No, what? You can find me on Twitter at FDK_DaltSniper. You can find me on Instagram at, what is it? Fidalgard. You can find me on Letterboxd at FDK_Thwilms. And you can find me on YouTube at FDK Space Gaming.
Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Sully, hit that gritty.